For a while, Marvel lost its grip. After the epic crescendo of Endgame, the Marvel Cinematic Universe (MCU) felt scattered. New characters emerged, but emotional connection dwindled. Stories felt rushed, stakes felt unclear, and audiences started asking, has Marvel lost its magic? But recently, something shifted. Marvel is quietly regaining its momentum, not with louder explosions, but with better storytelling. And the core of this narrative revival? A deeper focus on internal struggle. When stories come from the inside, they resonate deeper during Marvel's golden age. Iron Man, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Civil War, Endgame. The MCU didn't just give us heroes, it gave us people. People in armor, people with shields, but also people full of doubt, fear, guilt, and conviction. Tony Stark wasn't just a genius billionaire, he was a man haunted by his own weapons. Steve Rogers wasn't just a super soldier, he was a relic wrestling with morality in a changing world. What made these stories unforgettable wasn't the CGI, it was the emotional complexity, the personal stakes, the philosophical tension. We weren't just watching superheroes, we were watching human beings pulled in opposite directions by trauma, duty, identity, and belief. Then the thread got lost after Endgame. Marvel entered a kind of identity crisis. Characters came and went, often without enough time to grow. Many fans felt disconnected. It was hard to care. Why? Because emotion was missing. Pain wasn't earned. Conflict wasn't rooted. The deeper layers, the stuff that sticks, had faded. Now, the narrative is coming back. Recently, we've seen Marvel return to form, not by revisiting the past, but by doubling down on what always worked: inner conflict. In The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Sam Wilson doesn't simply inherit the shield, he agonizes over it. What does it mean to represent a country that hasn't always represented him? His journey as the new Captain America isn't about strength, it's about moral courage, racial identity, and the weight of expectation. And it lands because it's rooted in something real. The upcoming Thunderbolts builds on this shift. This isn't a team of paragons, it's a group of broken, complicated individuals trying not just to save the world, but to figure out if they even belong in it. Their conflicts don't come from aliens, they come from within. Marvel's most compelling characters are never just good or evil, they're conflicted. Thanos believed he was saving the universe. His plan to erase half of all life wasn't born of hatred, it was born of pain and a warped sense of mercy. He wasn't a cartoon villain, he was a utilitarian extremist, sacrificing the few for the many. We feared him not because he was heartless, but because he believed he was righteous. Likewise, Wanda Maximoff's arc is one of the MCU's most emotionally devastating. In WandaVision, she creates a false reality to avoid facing her grief. Her powers don't make her stronger, they isolate her. She holds an entire town hostage, not because she's evil, but because she's broken. And eventually, she has to choose between her fantasy and the truth. These aren't stories of victory, they're stories of loss, of trauma, of what happens when power meets unhealed pain. Why we care. So, why do these stories hit so hard? Because they reflect us. Psychologically, we're wired to connect with characters who mirror our emotional experiences. In fiction, we don't just seek entertainment, we seek recognition. We want to see our own fears, doubts, and questions reflected on screen. When a character breaks down under pressure, feels lost, makes the wrong choice, we lean in because that's real. That's human. The most immersive stories don't just escalate conflict, they internalize it. That's why a quiet moment with Sam Wilson can feel more powerful than a multiverse battle, because we're not just watching him, we're watching ourselves. Marvel's superpower was never the powers. Marvel is slowly winning us back, not because it got bigger, but because it got closer, closer to character, closer to truth, closer to us. Today, its strongest stories come from vulnerability, not invincibility, from shared pain, not spectacle, from empathy. And maybe that's what heroism really is now, not the ability to fly, but the courage to feel. So maybe the question isn't who's the strongest Avenger. Maybe it's who's willing to face what hurts and still try to do good.